So dear learners, from this particular video onwards, we are going to start with a new chapter, that is system modeling. Okay. So as a part of module 3, actually we are going to start here. So in the previous module, we discussed about the object oriented modeling and design. Okay. And system modeling is a base for that, actually. Is it clear? Okay. And system modeling, it is a very much essential stage of software development, where it is going to help in both the stages of our software process activities. Even during the requirement analysis also, these system models are going to be very helpful, and also for design and implementation also, these system models are very much helpful, actually. Okay. So throughout this particular chapter is concerned, we will discuss about what is this system model, what are the different types of system models that we can build. So all these topics will be covered here. Okay. So the content of this system modeling is, here we are going to discuss about the different types of modules, context modules, interaction module, then structural models, then behavioral models, then model driven engineering. So these are the different types of models that we are going to discuss under this particular chapter. Okay. So just have a look at this particular definition over here. So basically, the system modeling, it is a process of developing abstract model of a system, with each model representing a different view or perspective of that particular system. Okay. See, whenever you are developing any software, it is very much essential to understand in a better way what exactly you are developing, how you are going to develop, so that you need to represent with some sort of model. Okay. So for that, your system model is going to be helpful very much. Okay. And during this particular system modeling here, see, normally system modeling means actually, so here to mean, here we are going to represent the system using some sort of graphical notation here. Okay. So here we are going to represent our part of a system or that particular software to be get developed in terms of some graphical notations or a diagrammatic way. Is it clear? So there are variety of diagrams are there, or variety of models, okay, that we are going to represent our overall system, rather than simply describing the system in terms of the textual format. Is it clear? And for that, today there is a very emerging and new technology, the concept has been developed over there, that is a unified modeling language, UML. Okay. So once again, this UML is once again the basis of this object oriented modeling and design. Okay. Where we can come up with designing the different types of system models that we will discuss soon. Okay. And apart from that, this system modeling, that is a graphical representation of our software, it is going to help for the analyst to understand the functionality of the system. Okay. Because the system analyst is the person who is supposed to define and convert your requirements into implementation. Okay. For the better understanding of those requirements, normally these system modelings are going to be very much helpful. At the same time, the same system models are also used to communicate with the customers. See, rather than simply explaining the things to the customer, if you explain with the help of these system models, then the customer will be get realized very easily. Yes, what exactly the software that they are going to develop, how it looks like, how it's going to provide the functionalities. So all these things. So the next one is the existing and planned system model. So either we might be using the existing system models, or we might be using a new system model that we have developed. Whether it's an existing system model or new system model, okay, these system models are very much useful, especially during what? The requirements engineering. Because whenever you will define the requirements like functional requirement, non-functional requirements, or domain requirements, or interface requirement, whatever it may be, okay, rather than simply describing the requirements is not sufficient. Along with the requirement definition, we need to represent how exactly that requirement will work with the help of what? So such kind of system models with diagrammatic representation, that is graphical notation that we need to represent. Okay. So for that purpose, both existing system models of the similar type of software which is already exist, or the new system models that we are going to build for the software to be get developed. Okay, so in this way they will be helpful. And at the same time, a new concept, that is a model driven engineering process. So nowadays it is an emerging concept in software development, where these system models are going to be used especially to generate what, a complete or partial system implementation from the system models. So if you are capable to develop the system models which are complete and correct system models, directly you can convert that system models into the coding. We cannot say that it's 100% coding. Okay, so it's a complete, or it may be a partial coding that can be automatically get generated. Okay, that is called as what, model driven engineering process. So now we can have a look at the different perspective with which we can think of the purpose of the system models here. Okay, so always our system models are going to provide an external perspective. Means we can think of system models in terms of the external perspective, where we can model the context or what, the environment of the system. Okay, so it means that how our software system is going to work with the surrounding, the systems which are present in the environment, that we can represent, that will provide an external perspective. Similarly, with respect to an interaction perspective means here we can model the interactions between a system, okay, means one system to the another system which are present in the environment, or between the components of the same system. Okay, so how one component is going to interact with another component in a same system. So that also we can model, that is called interaction perspective. Okay, the third perspective is structural perspective. Means here we can model the overall organization of the system, or the structure of the system. Okay, or the structure of the data, how the data is going to be get processed in the system, that is called what, structural perspective. Then the last one is behavioral perspective. Behavioral perspective in the sense what, we can model the dynamic behavior of the system, and how it is going to respond with the events, or how it is going to respond with some sort of inputs or any kind of stimuli. How my system is going to behave, how my system is going to change the state from one state to the another state. So whenever any events is going to what, taken place, so that behavior can be get exhibited by building such kind of system model, that is called what, the behavioral perspective. So these are the different perspective that can be exhibited by building the different types of what, system models are concerned. So now if you think of the UML, that is Unified Modeling Language, is a very popular concept which is going to provide a facility to represent the system models in terms of variety of diagrams. Okay, so here we are going to discuss some specific set of the diagrams here. So the very first diagram here is activity diagram. Activity diagram means actually the name itself indicates they are going to show the activities involved in a process or in the data processing. Okay, so what activities are involved, that can be shown here. Then use case diagrams. Use case diagram means they are going to show the interaction between a system and its what, environment, what exactly the interactions are what, taking place. Then sequence diagrams means they are going to show the interaction between actors and the system, or between the system components. Okay, so the interactions which are happening either between the actor or the and the system, or between the system component, whatever it may be. So that can be shown with what, sequence diagrams. Then there comes the class diagrams. Class diagram means actually they will show the object classes in the system and their association between these classes. Means how one class is going to be associated with what, the another class, or how one object can be linked with what, the another object. That can be exhibited by using what, by drawing the class diagram. Then the last type of diagram is state diagram. State diagram means actually, so this is going to show how our software system is going to react to any internal or what, external events. Okay, so whenever any event is going to be taken place, how my system is going to react, how my system is going to change its state from one state to what, another state, that can be get exhibited by the diagrams. Such diagrams are called as what, state diagrams. Okay, so now basically how these graphical models are going to be useful. as a part of our system models are concerned here. So whenever we will represent the system models in terms of graphical notations, okay, so the very first use here is we can think of the graphical model as a means of facilitating the discussion about an existing or what proposed system. Okay, so these graphical models representation will always help us, or they will facilitate to discuss and understanding more about what, either it may be an existing software or it may be a proposed software, but for which normally we never expect that our graphical models or the system models should be 100% complete or they should be correct. Even though if they are incomplete or incorrect, we can develop such kind of system models at the abstract level, and those system models can be used for what, for discussion purpose, just for the better understanding of our existing or proposed system to be get developed. Okay, at the same time, the second use that you can think of as a way of documenting an existing system. Okay, so even you can use these system models for the documentation purpose of any existing system. For that also the system model should be accurate in this case. Okay, but it is not compulsory that they should be complete. Okay, let it be an incomplete, but the system model should be accurate, because we are going to document that. Okay, and tomorrow the same documentation will be helpful whenever we will go for the evolution of the software, or whenever we want to make the modification for the software. Normally these system models will be helpful to refer how exactly the system was designed and developed in the previous days. Okay, and the third use is as a detailed system description that can be used to generate what, the system implementation. So it means that directly these system models will be helpful to convert into automatic generated of what, the implementation, means the coding part. Okay, so even such tools are also available, and UML is one of the very popular concept where we are going to design the different types of system models in terms of different diagrams, like class diagram, state machine diagrams, okay, data flow diagrams, okay, then activity diagrams or sequence diagrams, interaction diagrams, all these package diagrams, all the different types of graphical models that can be converted for and in terms of what, the implementation. Okay, so for that case our system model should be 100% perfect, they should be correct and also what, complete. Okay, so this is how our graphical models are going to be useful. So this is the introduction part of our system model here. So once again, before going to conclude here, system model is nothing but developing a graphical representation of a system, part of system, or any functionality. Okay, so which will helpful for the better understanding of either existing system or a proposed system or proposed software to be get developed. So this is all about what, the system model as an introductory part. Okay, thank you.